All right, welcome to the team call, you guys. Thank you so much for coming on as usual. I know you're very busy, and we try to keep these calls to about 30 minutes, and we thank you so much. We try to provide really good content, and tonight we have my success partner, CJ McDonald. She works very closely with very many of you guys, and some of you just did her 3-day relaunch. Many of you guys Voxed with her and spent time on the phone with her. She's kind of like the aunt to our team, to Team Play Hard. So she's really the only non-Team Play Hard member that is in our Facebook group. So she's someone that I really admire and look up to, and she gives me brilliant counsel with my business and great counsel for you guys. So it's a total honor and privilege to have her here. She's also very good at speaking. It's one of her many gifts. So she's great at public speaking, but she also has the gift of being able to sort of do a diagnostic look at someone's business, and not just their business, but sort of their strengths and weaknesses. So she and I actually spend a lot of time talking about a lot of you guys in a good way behind your back. And she spends a lot of time just really picking my business center apart. And you guys, it's really remarkable that someone who none of your successes have any benefit or bearing on her business and her success. So it begs the question, why would she invest so much time into us? And really, sometimes we scratch our heads trying to figure that one out, other than it's a labor of love for her. It's a skill set of hers. And I often tell her, in fact, this week I told her a couple times that I feel like she has the raw end of the deal in our success partnership, because I feel like she gives so much more to me than I'm able to do in return, than I'm able to reciprocate. So I guess that means she's going to get a lot of paintings from me. So
that I won't mind.
So what I'm going to do, because I did have some sort of announcement kind of stuff that was going to take a while, some important team announcements for you guys, but rather than cut into her time, I'm going to make a separate little 5-minute video that I'll be posting in Team Play Hard that has some important team announcements coming up. But rather than cut into this time, I want to turn it over to CJ. I hope you have pen and paper in hand and you're ready to take notes. Now, if periscoping is something that you're like, I don't even know what that is, I don't even have, I don't even do social media, I don't even speak this language, that's okay. It's really good to expose ourselves to things like that. And if I'm honest, it's a little bit like that for me. I'm like, what? Whoa, I don't really see myself doing this right now. But the truth is, I will do it. And sometimes, I know bandwidth is a popular saying right now. Sometimes we don't have the bandwidth right now, but just that you exposed yourself to this training, you might in 4 weeks be ready to dabble with this. So it's important that you expose yourselves to trainings like this, even if you're not ready to tackle it tomorrow morning. Okay, and without further ado, CJ, I'm going to mute myself and give it over.
And ironically, my Periscope just went off. So,
one more thing, CJ. I'm sure you know this, but Jen Embers is like a periscoping fool. So as much as you want to throw to her tonight, that would be awesome.
Perfect. So thank you, everybody, for coming. I first just want to say thank you. Welcome to this Team Play Hard call on Periscope. So I know that we're all muted, and just much like you don't have the opportunity to talk back and forth in Periscope, by a show of hands, tell me who has been Periscoping already. Okay, I see one hand, see a lot of looks at me, shaking. Okay, great. So one of you, and that would be Jen Embers, one of you is already Periscoping. So for those that aren't, raise of hands, who is interested in Periscoping? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So at least 6 of you, 7, 8. All right, so at least 8 of you are interested in Periscoping. And so that's awesome. So as Ellen said, my name is CJ McDonald. I am the leader of Team Stronger Together, aka TST 360. Ellen is not only one of my dearest friends, but she's also my business partner. and we're cross-lined. So we don't really affect each other than the fact that she's an amazing businesswoman, amazing leader, an amazing woman of God. And you guys are all very lucky to be a part of Team Play Hard. So thanks again for joining here today. So today we're going to talk about Periscope. And the first thing that we're going to talk about, because so many of you, like Ellen said earlier, do I have the bandwidth, as my phone goes off, do I have the bandwidth to look at another platform? And quite frankly, that is one of the biggest questions that you have to ask yourself. And that's where we're going to start tonight. So the first place that I want to start is Periscope the right platform for you? That's a question that you have to ask yourself before you jump in all feet, right? So you have to really ask that question, and you have to, here's how to know if Periscope's the right platform for you. First of all, I just got a question. So what is Periscoping? Okay, let me back up. So thank you for asking that question. So Periscope is a new social media platform that I like to say is kind of a cross between Snapchat, YouTube, and Instagram. In that, it's video, it's live streaming video, so you can do live streaming video on YouTube if you've built up your channel. It's like Snapchat in that it goes away after 24 hours. And it's like Instagram because it's a phenomenal way to get your brand out there authentically to you. So Periscope is a live streaming social media platform that allows you to essentially build your brand in a different way if you're not already doing YouTube, or even if you are. If you're really familiar with Snapchat, those are some of the apps that if you're already familiar with would make you probably a good crossover to Periscope. So back to the question we were asking, and thank you again for asking that. It was a great question. So back to the question is Periscope the right platform for you? And the questions that you need to ask yourself to get that answer. So first you want to say, can I be consistent? Can I be consistent? Because I will tell you that Periscope is not the platform for you if you cannot commit to scoping at least once a day. Do I have value to bring back to my brand? When you ask yourself that question, every single person on Team Play Hard has value and authentic value that they bring back to their followers. But have you figured out what that is yet? And if you're still trying to figure out your brand, then I would caution you to not jump into Periscope quite yet. You need to understand what your value is, and how you determine what your value is by looking at the questions that everybody seems to come to you to ask. Like, everybody wants to know how to do, and they come to you. So that's a great way to figure out what value you can bring back. Can you bring value back by, oops, I'm echoing. Okay, I'm back. Can you bring value by, sharing recipes, or like Brett Johnson is cooking. He's doing a scoping cooking class thing. So you just got to figure out what you could scope about. What are some of the benefits of scoping? It's a new platform, which means that if you're getting in now and figuring out how it works, the sky's the limit, right? You are getting in on the ground floor. So it's just like when Instagram came, those that got into on the ground floor on Instagram were able to grow their following much quicker than those that are just getting on Instagram now. Periscope will give you the ability, because it's a new platform, to grow your brand fast. So like on Facebook right now, if you're like adding 1 or 2 new likes to your page a week, and you want to explode your following, Periscope may be the right answer for you. So that's a little bit about Periscope. I answered a question. I'm going to go to the chat real quick and make sure I'm not missing any. Jen Ember says, check out Brett's scope. It's called The Hangry Chef. It's amazing. So for those of you that like to cook, it's definitely great. It's a great Periscope. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about what Periscope is. Is it the right platform for you? So based on what I've shared with everybody, who thinks that Periscope might be their next platform? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so 7 or 8 of you are like, okay, Periscope may be the right platform for me. So I'm going to go through really 3 things today. So one, I'm going to go through is it the right platform for you? Next, I'm going to go over a couple of tips on how to be great. Then we're going to talk a little bit about, okay, so I did my first scope, now what? And then the very last thing, if we have time, and I'm watching the clock, Ellen, is I'm going to give you my outline for your very first scope if you haven't scoped yet, or if you have scoped, I encourage you to use this outline the next time you scope. Okay, so number one, how to be great on Periscope. So the first thing is you really have to think about what you're great at, or how do you get great at anything. Getting great at anything means that you're taking the time, right? You're taking the time, you're investing resources, you're investing sometimes money into learning something new in order to be great at it. The age-old saying is that it takes 10,000 hours to become an expert. Well, the great news here is that you don't need to spend 10,000 hours on Periscope to be great. So I'm going to give you 5 really quick tips on how to be great on Periscope. So the first tip on how to be great on Periscope is be a great viewer. So if you haven't been on Periscope at all yet, your first task is to go sign up with an account, link it to your Twitter. Don't use your phone number, link it to your Twitter, and begin looking for scopes that you would be interested in. The reason you want to be a great viewer first is because this gives you the ability to learn how the platform works, learn what you like, and more importantly, what you don't like. In social media, right, we could look at 100 different public figures, but not all 100 are going to resonate with us. So you really want to learn how to be a great viewer. The other thing it allows you to do, in addition to learning the platform so that you then can be great on the platform and what you offer, is it allows you to network. It allows you to be front and center in other people's scopes, which then also builds your brand. It puts you front, mind, and center to some of the people that are scoping that are large. Like Shalene has done quite a few Scope is Dope contests that gives you the ability to get in there, grow your brand because of association. Kim Garst is doing the same thing. So be a great viewer first so that you can research, you can learn how the platform works, you can figure out what you like and what you don't like. Number 2 is be yourself. You need to make sure that your authentic personality is coming out. That means, are you funny? Are you serious? Are you happy? Are you a Debbie Downer? Like, no matter who you are, that needs to come out in your Periscope. So do not try and be somebody else because your Periscope will flop. The other thing is Periscope allows you, being authentically you, it allows you to showcase your value back to anybody that would maybe be interested in following you. It's always important to add value back into other people's lives. And so Periscope is a great way to begin to showcase that, and then to really understand via requesting feedback during the live scope what's resonating with people and what's not, because that will then help you continue to build your scope and understand what your audience wants. So that leads me into number 3, which is understand what your audience wants. Now I want you guys to take a step, just stop for a second and think about your most popular Facebook posts. And think about what those posts are about. And jot down what your most popular Facebook posts have been about in the last week. And I don't want you to go look on Facebook, just from recollection. Okay, So the importance of understanding what your audience wants, there's really 3 points. First, you want to know who you actually want to work with and who you don't in the businesses that you're building. It's the same with Periscope. It's the same with building a tribe. You don't want to be everything to everybody. You want that niche. I used this example the other day in talking with somebody. If I were to give you $100,000 and tell you to go open a 24-hour fitness, you would go identify a place, you would go buy the equipment, and then probably your next step would be to start to hire. Well, I pretty much guarantee you that you're not going to go to Facebook, pick some random person and hire them without understanding, could you work with them? Would you want to work with them? Do they have the same work ethic? So when you are understanding what your audience wants, you're also determining who you want to work with. The next part is in how to understand your audience is asking questions. Now, for those of you that haven't scoped yet, one of the best ways to ask questions is on your Facebook or another social media platform in which you have high engagement. If I were to do, and you could even say, if I were to do a Periscope, what are the top 5 topics that you would want me to talk about? Now, when you post the word Periscope on Facebook, make sure that it's not actually Periscope, because Facebook will push your post to the very bottom of the algorithm. So if you have to do like PE period RI period SC period OPE, something to that effect, because then Facebook won't be able to actually read that because no humans are actually reading it. So that's just a quick little tip. And then while you're periscoping, so during your first periscope or maybe your second, as a part of your outline, which I'll share with you later, make sure that you're asking for feedback. What other questions would they have? Because those will be applicable for you to save and then go back and periscope about them later. So point number 4, and let me look at my notes to make sure I'm on track. Point number 4 is what all of the experts that have launched their platform, launched their brands on Periscope have said. Every single one of them will tell you to send your followers somewhere. Don't do a scope without having a place to send them as a part of your outline for your scope. So you can send them to a blog. You can send them to an opt-in. You can send them to a website. You could send them maybe to your YouTube channel. But one of the things that they do say is not to necessarily send them to another social media platform. So like you wouldn't want to draw somebody into Periscope to turn around and then send them back to Facebook. Or you wouldn't necessarily want to draw somebody in from Instagram and then send them back to Instagram. So you want to be really careful about making your journey too complicated in order to get the valuable content that you have to deliver. So you want to make sure that you're sending them someplace. Number 5 on how to be great, how to do a great Periscope is be predictable. So what do I mean by being predictable? So if you go back to what I said in the very beginning, and one of the things I said was a question that you should ask yourself, should I do Periscope, is can you be consistent? So not only do you want to create a schedule to scope, you also want to create your schedule to watch scope. So for those of you that have done some of my other trainings, one of the things that I always say is stay out of the news feed. It is the most time-consuming, time-suck thing that you can do while you're building your business on social media. And so there has to be some discipline. So not only schedule your scopes and be predictable, but schedule when you're actually going to go back and watch scopes. And don't feel that need to necessarily be on live. Although it is great to be on live because you can ask questions, you want to make sure that you're honoring your other commitments. Number 2 is invite ahead of time. So many of you that have built your businesses have numerous clients and customers. You have the ability to shoot them out a quick email, then maybe the night before and say, hey, I'm going to be live on Periscope tomorrow at noon Pacific Standard Time, sharing with you my top 3 tips for. And so invite them ahead of time. So you want to be predictable. So you can invite, you can schedule. And then the last thing with being predictable is know your topic. That kind of wraps us all in to some of the other 5 tips, right? You want to make sure that you're adding value, that it's a topic that you know, that you're comfortable fielding questions that maybe haven't been asked before. So you really want to be as close to an expert in your topic or topics as you can be. So I'm going to take a quick pause, and because we don't have hearts and because we don't have the comments going on, I'd just like some type of indication from you guys. Is this resonating? Does this make sense? Is this helping and adding value back to whether or not you want to be on Periscope?
Yeah. This is
I got a yes.
No, it's really good. And I actually have written down like 7 or 8 questions that I have that you'll probably end up covering, but just in case at the end,
Yep.
can we have a little bit of a Q&A?
Yes. Yes.
And maybe we should have prefaced this thing with just, I love that Kelsey Ann asked right away, like, what is Periscoping? It basically, live streaming, you guys, is the new wave. And you guys all know it's really easy to get stuck and like not change with the times. If we want to evolve with the times and be contemporary with our business, unfortunately, we have to learn new things. And I resist it, but then I force myself to do it because I want to be a good leader. And I have to tell you, I didn't want to do Zoom. I heard a year and a half ago, I heard all the top coaches lead Zoom team trainings. And I was like, but I don't want to learn how, and I don't want to do it, and I don't know how to Zoom. I don't know how to create a Zoom account and invite my team, and they don't know how to do it, But look, it's so vital that we Zoom now. We do Zoom for getting all of the leaders are Zooming. All of our leaders and diamonds are Zooming, and we Zoom for the new coach training, and we Zoom our team calls, and we Zoom get it started right calls. And that's just one little example of how we have to, maybe not tomorrow morning, but you guys have to embrace the way technology is going. And this is the way it's going. It's going through live streaming. Okay, sorry for that little rant.
You're good. So this is the point in time in my scope lesson where I would give you some recommendations. So if you're still wanting to dive deeper into your research, if you're still wanting to better understand, if this is the right platform for you, I highly recommend Kim Garst, Garst. Shalene Johnson is doing a lot on Periscope. Tiffany Lee Bymaster is another one that I highly recommend. Those are probably my top 3 right now. There are several others, but let's kind of recap real quick. So first, is scope right for you? You've got to better understand if you have the commitment. You've got to do the research, and you've got to really understand if this is the right platform for you. Next is we talked about 5 great tips or 5 ways to be great on Periscope. So we talked about being a great viewer. We talked about being yourself. You may not be in here. Thank you. We talked about understanding your audience. We talked about sending them somewhere. Sorry, I had to look at my notes. And then we talked about being predictable. So really the last point that I wanted to get across to you guys today, which is as critical as step number 1, identifying if it's your right platform, and step number 2, how to be great, is, okay, I scoped, now what? So just like any of the other social media platforms, it's kind of like when you were a little kid and your parents would pull out Candyland, and I just dated myself, and you would sit down and you would play Candyland, and you would, play the game, and you would go a different way every time. So in order to do social media right, you really need to treat it as though your Candyland journey for your customers. So you've got to be able to do your scope, save your scope to your phone. If that's not working, you've got to figure out a way to save it, I recommend re-uploading it on catch.me, another free platform that you can upload your scopes after you've done it, or you can send it to your YouTube channel if you have a YouTube channel. The next thing that I'd like you to do after you do your first scope or your second or third is to take that scope and send it, create an account at Fiverr, and that's Fiverr.com. Fiverr is an outsourcing platform. Most stuff only costs about $5. So you're going to scope, you're going to do catch.me or YouTube. Then you're going to take that replay and you're going to go post a job in Fiverr, and you're going to have somebody take that replay and transcribe it into a blog. So now you are repurposing your content. You can then take sentences out of what you said, because you may have said something so freaking amazing that you can use it as a post on social media. So I want you guys to really start to realize that as these new platforms come out, it is of critical importance that you begin to learn how to repurpose your content. So I am going to go really quickly into my outline. I'm looking at the time, Ellen, I'm going to cut it close. So I'm going to go really quickly into my outline of how to create confidence in your first scope. All right, so number one is your welcome. So we're just live on scope. I say, hey everybody, thanks for joining. In the comments, why don't you tell me where you're from? Give me the city and the state that you guys are from. You let them, and then you comment on it. Oh, okay, I see Eugene, Oregon. Awesome. I see Moss Landing. I see Missouri. Oh, welcome you guys. So great for you to join. Are you new? Have you ever been on one of my scopes before? So now we're still in the welcome, and you're asking 2 questions, and you're responding and engaging with your users. Okay, so that's number 1, you're welcome. Number 2 in the outline is your intro. Now, for those of you that don't know what an XYZ formula statement is, we'll have to take that to a separate topic, but essentially it's, hi, my name's TJ McDonald. I help women entrepreneurs create a passive income while working in corporate America so that they can create freedom in their future. That's my XYZ statement. So that's how I would do my intro. And then I would say something else of value based on my scope. So I would kind of do almost maybe the topic. So today we're going to talk about, is periscoping for you? And then I would ask a question. So number 3 in your outline is ask a question back to your users that's related to your topic. So you would say, much like I did in the very beginning of this meeting. So for those of you on live with us today or listening to the rebroadcast, how many of you have not done a scope yet? Put me in the comments. And that would be my question regarding my topic today. Number 4 in the outline is you want to make sure that every single time you scope, you're teaching about the platform, because again, not everybody has done the platform. So you want to teach about hearts and the importance of hearts, and you want to teach about the ability to share. Now remember, you are opposite of your users. So your left is their right. So when I say on an iPhone, how you share this with your followers is you go, you swipe right and up, right? So, or swipe right. And so I'm showing you the opposite of what you're seeing me, and you're actually seeing me swipe right. I hope that makes sense. Number 5 is you want to make sure that before you get into your content, you're talking about a struggle and a benefit that you're going to be talking about and that you're going to answer questions about. So in my talk today, we could have talked about the fact that, maybe you're struggling, you don't have the bandwidth, you are interested in this new platform. We're going to talk to you about today whether this platform is right for you. Number 6 is your teaching. That's where you start to teach like I did. Is it the right platform? How to be great? Okay, I've scoped, now what? So you start to teach your topics. Number 7 is in the middle of your scope, send out recommendations to other scopers. So as you saw I recommended Kim Garst, Shalene Johnson, Tiffany Lee Bymaster, and Jen Embers would recommend Christine Dwyer as well. So I did the recommendations, then I would go back and teach a little bit more. So tip number 8 or step number 8 is teach a little bit more. And then step number 9 is always open for Q&A. So now we're going to open for Q&A.
You guys unmute yourselves if you have questions.
Somebody's got a question out there.
I have like a lot of questions.
All right, go for it.
Well, okay. I am super dialing in my calendar and my time management and my organization. I love that you said you talked about staying off the live feed in Facebook. And just so you guys know, I'm not on the live feed in Facebook. So if it ever seems like I'm not liking a bunch of your stuff, I'm honestly not seeing it unless you're tagging me, because that's a time suck for me. I use Facebook all the time for work, but I'm not just like scrolling the live feed. So in terms of time, because CJ, one of the first things you said is, you know, are you going to be able to invest the time? I would like, and that we need to be a viewer and a content provider. So I would like to know, what kind of time are you talking about? So for example, for Instagram, I think I probably spend, 5 or 10 minutes total a day on Instagram, and it really has been helping my brand and growing tremendously. So compared to something like that, how much time is involved? And Embers, I would like for you to kick in on that too.
Yeah, so that's a great question. So it depends on if you already have a list of scope topics that you know really well and you don't really have to prepare, but maybe an outline. Okay. So if you have the ability to pick a topic and in 5 minutes create a quick outline of the top 5 tips and then just improv, talk about it, Periscope won't take you very long. If
you just talk as long as you want, and like you're using your phone, it's like a selfie video and you're just talking to it and you kind of have an outline that you're like sneaking peeks at.
Yep.
Embers, what about you? Same?
She's unmuting.
Sorry. So that's the hardest thing I think about Periscope, is that I do want to prepare. So what I've been doing right now is just like 5-day scope challenge, like get to know me, as I'm preparing content behind the scenes. I don't have an answer because I don't have a feel for it yet, honestly.
Okay.
So I think there is more work than any other platform, because in order for it to be good. But my goal is also, like, I like Christine Dwyer's, but they're always like 45 minutes. And I don't have that kind of time. And so I don't want my scopes to be over 10 minutes. So that's also a goal of mine.
Aren't some people scoping for like 30 seconds?
Oh yeah, totally.
Yes, there's no time limit. You can scope as long as you want or as little as you want. And Jen just brought up a great point, which was one of my points in how to be great, is to determine what you do like and what you don't like about the platform. And the only way to do that is to become a viewer, right? That was my number one tip, is to be a great viewer. So for those of you that are considering doing Periscope, I would take a week of research and I would Periscope, meaning I would be a viewer. I would go get on, I would search for topics. Sean T can Periscope from Outback. He's Sean T. You can't. Sorry. Shalene can Periscope her PIO workout. She's Shalene. You maybe shouldn't. You know what I mean? So it goes back again to what does your audience want? And the best way to determine what your audience wants, and Embers, this comment specifically for you, is you've got to sit down and be able to say, what am I good at? What do people come to me for? What do I know, like the back of my hand, so that I can quickly prepare in an outline state? How do I break down what I know into 2 tips, 5 tips, 4 tips? And then how do I manage my Periscope time without it all of a sudden being a time suck and I'm not getting anything in return. So Ellen, to your question, and then we'll wrap up and move to the next one. It should take every single one of you at least a week to research Periscope before you make the determination of yes or no. And I don't mean yes or no ever. I mean yes or no right now. Every single one of you should take a week and go be a great viewer. The next thing is, while you're doing that and while you're watching these scopes, your mind will creatively begin to think about different topics that you could scope about. Write those down.
Yeah, like Jen on our last team call, Jen's like, "Oh, thanks. I just got I got my next 5 days of Periscope material out of the team call."
Yeah, totally.
And taking like a big idea. What I'm trying to do is, I think the way I'm going to do it is pick a theme for the week, like a bigger topic, and then break it down into 5 days worth of content so that my scopes aren't, 45 minutes a pop.
And when I get ready to scope, Embers, I will probably scope 30 minutes. Now, I should have started this and prefaced this earlier. So I'm not scoping yet. I did one scope. I ended up having to change my username, and I'm not scoping yet because, as many of you know, I am all about doing the research first and determining if it's the right platform that's going to work for me and work for my schedule and work for my family. Now, based on all the research that I've done, which is extensive, so I basically have taken 4 weeks in Super Saturday. I've taken 4 weeks of my research and boiled it down for you guys to like 3 top tips of, if you're going to scope or if you're thinking about scoping, here's what you do first. So make sure you're doing the research and make sure that it's a platform for you, because in the beginning, any new platform takes time.
And also, any new platform you guys aren't going to be good at right away. I mean, I was thinking about this during this call, and I wanted to share that when I started Facebook, you guys, I wasn't good at it. I wasn't good at Facebook. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't do it well. I didn't put good content out there. I didn't get good followers. But today I do. When I started Instagram, same thing. I've actually gone back and deleted all my original Instagram stuff because it just wasn't good. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to use it. And I didn't know how to give it good content. And when I started Zoom, for example, I didn't know how to like mute people when there was a reverb, and I didn't know how to moderate the calls or record them and convert them into YouTube. Like we just sometimes need to start, even though we're not going to be great. I mean, she's right. We need to do the research and do our homework and be wise, but we also need to know that we're not going to be great right away. I've never been great at anything right away, ever. And when I started doing like sneak peeks on our team, those 5-day sneak peeks, and when I started doing the new coach training, like those are still evolving. And sometimes in this business, I find I just have to make myself start and know that it's not going to be pretty right away. But you know what? Probably like 6 months from now, I'll be like, hey, I got this periscoping thing down.
And to Ellen's point, you can do a private scope.
Oh.
So you can, like, I could scope with Ellen and do like 10 scopes with her to get the hang of it that are private before I actually open it up to the public. So once you do a private scope, you can't make it public, but you can absolutely do a private scope until you feel like you built your confidence enough to open it up to the public.
What if they're out there? What if these guys on the team call tonight are like thinking, because I have to confess, I'm kind of thinking this a little bit too. What if they're thinking like, well, I don't really have anything to say?
But you do.
Well,
You do.
Like, what if they're like, I lack inspiration, or what is my brand? And
so the first thing I would do if you're lacking inspiration, I would go to scopeisdope.com. Shalene has put together 200 topics for scope. So 200 topics for scope. And I would go get that. It's free. I would download that. If you want to really look at the basics of Periscope, like down to like the nitty gritty, like Nat's ass, I would go to kimgarst.com. And she's got Periscope 101. I think it's kimgarst.com /Periscope 101. And she's got stuff there. I'm actually speaking with her assistant right now about some type of an affiliate link where I don't actually get an affiliate fee, but that she allows us to bring together a huge group of people to do her paid for course, which I think is $97. So if you haven't purchased her paid for course yet, and it's something you want to do, don't purchase it yet. Let me negotiate with her assistant, because I can't and I won't take a affiliate fee. But if we can do it together as a group, and she knows that we're all doing it together as a group, we might get some more attention. Okay, any other questions?
Jen wanted to know how you spell Tiffany's. Can you at some point type that in?
Yep, Tiffany. Oh, you want me to type it in?
Or however.
Yeah, I can't find it.
I had another question. I'm sorry. Wait, what was it? I wanted to say this. So some of the new coaches on the call, like Victoria and Cassie and Kristen, might be like, what? Why would I even want to do this? Like, how does this help business? Like, how would this help? It's not like they're going to go in there and shop in my store. And I just wanted to touch on that in case anyone is wondering that. So basically, after you're a new coach and you kind of go through your warm market of people that you know, you tap that well. You run out of a warm market, and your business won't continue to thrive and grow unless you're meeting new people. And also, like, if you look in the city where I live, you know, you look to the right and you look to the left and it's a coach. This market is like tapped. Like, we're full of coaches. Like, Eugene is full of coaches. So for us to be meeting new people, we have to be using the internet. We have to be using Instagram and Facebook and Periscope and YouTube to be meeting new people and getting them to follow us and take an interest in what we do. And then they cross-pollinate platforms. People that start following you on Periscope, they're going to want to find you on Facebook. And then they're going to see that you just open a new challenge group for the next month. So it's really vital to the longevity of your business.
Okay, so I added in, Ellen, Kim Garst's link. I added in Shalene's link.
Coach Glitter.
Yep, Coach Glitter, aka Coach Glitter. Embers recommended Christine Dwyer. And there's a ton more that we could recommend, right? But those would be ones that I find valuable. So I would just do searching. When you do sign up for your Periscope account, make sure you connect it to your Twitter. That is like the one must do, have to do. Make sure it's connected to your Twitter. So if you do not have a Twitter account yet, go get a Twitter account before you sign up for Periscope.
Why is that so important?
Because when you scope, you actually, let me see if I can show you.
Also, if I already set it up to my phone number, is there a way I can change it to my Twitter?
You have to go out and go back, and that's why I had to create a different one. I know.
So let me answer that, because the help people are helpful. Like, I had a problem. My Twitter name and my Periscope name didn't match, and so they weren't speaking. They have a small developmental team that you can send an email to and say, "Can you please switch this?" And they'll do it. It took about 3 days.
Okay. So this is, if I was going to start to broadcast right now, and I know it's really small, but do you see right here over on this side where it's got the little Twitter, the little tweet dude?
Yeah.
So the reason you want it connected to your Twitter is because when that's live, when you go start to broadcast, it tweets for you. Now people can retweet your tweets.
Okay.
And so it amplifies what you have in reach. It amplifies your reach. And then what happens is, like Kim Garst, she will, like, if somebody's asking a question or they want to, like today on one of her Periscopes, one of her attendees was looking for somebody else she had mentioned before. And so she's like, tweet me and I'll get back to you on that. Because unlike Facebook, where you can like go back to your comments way later, you can't do that on Periscope. Once the comments are there, the comments are there. Once the broadcast is done, it's done, and you can't respond via comments. Hope that makes sense.
And it builds, it really does. That seems to be where I'm building traction is Twitter. Like people are coming over from Twitter and favoring my Periscopes on, like I'm getting more, and I don't like, am I allowed to say that? I hate Twitter. I hate it. And so I don't really know how to do it. But so I'm being forced to learn because I like Periscope, and I'm seeing the benefits over there.
Oh, I know what I was gonna say. I knew there was something else. How you gave us that tip, by the way, that was, thank you. I never would have known to do that. How she said to don't spell Periscope correctly. Yeah. When you share. Just so I know I've mentioned this on other team calls, but like Facebook is being super competitive because it's losing some of its edge in some of these. It's kind of like losing the race a little bit here because it doesn't have live streaming, and so it's competing with things like YouTube. So if you guys upload, and believe me, I know this, I've done it, I've played with it. If I upload a video to YouTube and share it to Facebook, it'll get some likes. But if I upload a video right now without doing it to YouTube, I do it both. I actually do both because I'm building both audiences. But if I take the time to do 2 separate uploads, my direct upload to Facebook that isn't through YouTube gets like over 2,000 views, like overnight.
Get way more organic reach.
As opposed to like 40.
Yeah.
Like Facebook is shutting it. They don't want to give you an organic reach.
The algorithm literally buries it. So it's not seen.
So the other thing to note is that Facebook 2 weeks ago launched live streaming. So live streaming is available. However,
isn't it only to like the 1% of the people who are super special, like Brad Pitt?
However, you have to have a verified like page,
right,
in order to be able to use it. So if your like page has enough likes and engagement, it's not just likes, it's likes and engagement, and you're a verified page. So Shalene is live streaming, Shanti is live streaming, I've seen a couple other coaches live streaming. I think Carl is going to live stream. He live streamed today.
He did, yeah.
I think he's going to live stream for part of his Carl on Demand Tuesday, tomorrow. So it is available, and it's supposedly coming to everyone, but it is not there yet. It's only available to the verified accounts.
Okay, we should wrap because we've got Missouri on the line and it's later there. So we should wrap, and we can take the rest of the discussion offline on Team Play Hard. Is that cool?
Cool.
Yeah, thank you so much. That was really good.
Yeah, thank you, CJ.
We went over.